Many rogues walk a fine line between life and death, risking their own lives and taking the lives of others. While adventuring on that line, some rogues discover a mystical connection to death itself. These rogues take knowledge from the dead and become immersed in negative energy. Eventually becoming like ghosts, thieves' guilds value them highly, as they're very effective information gatherers and spies.
Sounds very cool. So why don't you tell me more about Phantom Rogues?
Right, Phantom Rogues. So, Phantom Rogues, they're basically characters who are a little bit more attached to death in a magical, mystical way. Talking and bonding with spirits, I guess. I've just finished playing one in a one-shot, and I'm here to quickly run through some of their abilities and have a chat about how I felt about the character class and what it can do. The first things you're going to gain your abilities at level 3, as rogues do, and you're going to get Whispers of the Dead. And this is when you choose this archetype, at 3rd level, echoes of those who have died cling to you. Whenever you finish a short or long rest, you can gain one skill or tool proficiency of your choice, as a ghostly presence shares its knowledge with you. You lose the proficiency when you use this feature to choose a different proficiency that you lack. So every short rest, you can change a floating skill proficiency or tool proficiency.
Sounds like it could come in handy. It almost sounds like a wizard preparing spells. Like, hey, you've got this thing in the background, you've saved it.
Yeah.
And now at the start or the end of your long rest, or when you finish long rest, you're choosing to have lock-picking skills that you stole from a soul earlier. So it could come in very handy. But without the role play, it seems almost dull. So
yeah,
I
just
like
moving a stat around. But I mean, let's say you've just gotten out of the forest, and you step out, and we've got across a desert. You're like, damn, I've got nothing for this. The ranger's out, or we don't have one, or whatever. No one's got survival. We'll tell you what, let's take a short rest on the edge of this forest, jungle, whatever, before we head on out, gather ourselves before it's in the heat of the day, and then we'll set off, and I'll take survival, and then I'll speak to the dead, and the dead of the sands will whisper to me and tell me, hey, if you do this, there's water over here, or, that sort of thing. So yeah, I think it's not a bad ability, and I liked it. You also get at 3rd level, Wails from the Grave, and this is probably what most people are going to see. So at 3rd level, as you nudge someone closer to the grave, you can channel the power of death to harm someone else as well. Immediately after you deal your sneak attack damage to a creature on your turn, you can target a second creature that you can see within 30 feet of the first creature. Roll half the number of sneak attack dice for your level, rounded up. That second creature takes this as necrotic damage, equal to the roll's total. The wails of the dead sound around them for that moment. You can use this feature a number of times, equal to your proficiency bonus. You regain all expended uses when you finish now a long rest.
So with that, we can break that down and say, at level 3, you're getting this.
Yep.
You get 2 sneak attack dice, which goes down to 1.
Yep.
For the other, and the proficiency is also 3. So 3 times you get a short rest, you get to long rest, you get to roll an extra d6. But it's necrotic damage. So that's fantastic.
What I like about this is there's no save. There's no to hit. If you can hit the weak one, you can target the strong one that you might have had a higher AC.
That's a very clever way of using this. I like this a lot.
So if the big bad guy's standing there and he's armored the hell up and he's got a whole bunch of minions, you just target the minions. You'll drop a minion like that, but you'll keep putting half the sneak attack damage onto the big guys. You pick out all the minions. That's where this class really gets strong, because you just got to hit the weak little guys around him, and all of a sudden all his friends near him are now causing him the problem. Or if you know you can hit the big bad guy, hit the big bad guy and drop a minion with the little sneak attack dice you do here and there. It's pretty good like that.
One thing I've also noted with this is there is no restrictions for turns or rounds. So it's just when you do sneak attack damage. So if you manage...
Proficiency bonus.
What was that, sorry?
Number of times proficiency is your only limit there, yeah.
Still, if you get 2 sneak attacks in your turn, if you do metagame it and you use a battle command, you can get sneak attack off twice per round. because you got to use your reaction for battle command. And if we're talking late game, that's a huge amount of D6 extra.
Yeah, up the top end, you're doing a lot of D6. I mean, max is out at 10, so plus your weapon, so you're doing 11 D6. But depending on how you read that, it's only the sneak attack bonus that's put over there. So max level, not that many people get that high. You're doing like 11 D6 to one guy. You're doing 5 D6 to the bloke standing next to him for free. That's pretty good.
For free.
There's tokens of the departed at 9th level. When your life when a life ends in your presence, you are able to snatch a token from the departed soul. A sliver of its life essence then takes a physical form. As a reaction, as we use your reactions, when a creature you see dies within 30 feet of you, you can then open your free hand and cause the tiny trinket to appear there. A soul trinket. The DM determines the trinkets that you have, and you can roll on the trinkets in the player's handbooks to generate this, or make them up. I mean, what does it really matter? You can have a maximum number of soul trinkets equal to your proficiency bonus. You can't create more than your maximum. So at level 9, I think you got proficiency of like 3 or 4, so you're usually pretty good. You can use these soul trinkets in the following way. So here's how you burn them to use the trinkets. While a soul trinket is on your person, you have advantage on death saving throws and constitution saving throws as your vitality is enhanced by the life essences within the object. You deal sneak attack damage on your turn. You can then destroy one of the soul trinkets for that person and immediately use Wail of the Graves without expending a use of this feature. So as long as you're collecting soul trinkets, you never run out of Wails of the Grave. So as long as you can maintain, you're doing right. And then when you do run out of tokens, you still got your proficiency bonus worth for them, attempts of Wails of the Grave. So that works out pretty good. And then as an action, you can destroy one of your soul trinkets, no matter where it's located. When you do this, you can ask the spirit associated with that token one question. The spirit appears to you and answers in a language it knew in life. It's under no obligation to tell the truth, and it answers as concisely as possible, eager to be free. The spirit knows only what it knew in life, as determined by the DM.
I love this. Just for those rare occasions where your favorite NPC dies, you can have a final recall where you get to chat to him one last time.
Yep.
And also if a player dies, it could be a nice way for the player to get their last thing said to their loved one or a message passed on back to home. So the role play part of this, I really enjoy.
It's fantastic. I love it. You will just have to keep a note of these things, and we'll talk about that coming up later, but you've got to keep track of this if you're going to start using that feature. So make sure you note who's worth remembering that you might want to bring them back or talk to them.
Yeah.
At the 13th level, you get Ghost Walk. Now, this is where you really start just going crazy. Really cool. So you can phase partially into the realm of the dead, becoming like a ghost. As a bonus action, you can assume a spectral form. While in this form, you have a fly speed, which is your total move, and you can't change it. It has now set your fly speed to 10 feet. You can hover, and attack rolls against you have disadvantage. You can move through creatures and objects, as if it was difficult terrain. But you take 1d10 damage if you end your turn inside a creature or an object. You stay in this form for 10 minutes or until you end it as a bonus action. To use this feature again, you must finish a long rest or destroy one of your soul trinkets as part of the bonus action used to activate the Ghost Walk. So
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Like you're level like 13, you've got like 4 soul trinkets, or up to a maximum of 4 soul trinkets at any one time. That's enough to have a little bit of a buffer for using your own Wails of the Grave and things like that. And you bust this out often enough that it'll be useful.
Yeah, there's a lot of good uses for this as well.
Dungeoneering, all sorts of things. The only thing is you've got 10 foot fly speed, which can't be changed. I think that they've specifically done it like that. And they're going through things as difficult terrain. But in saying that, if you think about it, let's say you're fighting a really big dragon or a demon. It's possible at those levels. If you pop up, poke it with your sword and get your sneak attack damage, and then pop down into the ground where it can't get you, you're going to take 1d10 damage instead of the damage the dragon can do to you. And then you're going to pop back out of the floor, poke it again, and then you're going to go back down, and you're going to stay down there. And as a rogue, you can engage and disengage, so there's no attacks on you. You just take 1d10 damage every round instead of what a demon or anything big can throw at you.
Yeah.
That becomes amazing.
I love visually what this is.
That is.
I can see a lot of arguments happening though.
Yeah, that's too powerful.
Not so much just the fact you can pop in and out, because rogues do that all the time, but just the whole attack rolls against you have disadvantage, all this sort of stuff. So to fly up 5 feet, take your shot and fly back down, I could see thousands of DMs and players around the world just like, but you can't do, no, you'll have to fire with disadvantage. You'll have to do, like, arguments happening. I think this ability, before I used it like this, I would definitely be talking to my DM.
I'd bust it out once or twice in a whole campaign. I wouldn't use it religiously. Otherwise, it would become that thing that's just like, man, like it's you're ruining the game. It becomes, I've got to dig the earth up around you. All the other ones, they move, and you pop back up, and they're not there, and you've got to move 10 feet to try and catch up. So yeah, that's how they will defend themselves and get away from that. So, but if someone's stuck there though, that's pretty good. Easy one.
Yeah, I actually was thinking of it a different way. I was thinking it would be cool if there was some sort of, like, we can't get there into this dungeon. Like, there's a bomb shelter underground, and the rogue makes a call that he's going to fly there.
I'll just go get it.
And so it goes down through the ground for 900 feet, and the whole way rolling this 1d10 damage. And come on. I could just see this being sort of like a skill challenge almost, to take less damage, to see if you can make it the whole way through. I would love this. I can see the suspense happening. Oh my God. I love, like, I don't know where that would come up, but I want to specifically design something for that. It's such a cool sort of use of it. And it's so, like, 10 feet per turn. And it's like,
slowly. 17th level, you get Death Knell. So your association with death has become so close that you gain the following benefits. When you use your Wail of the Grave, you can now deal necrotic damage to both the first and second creature. So it's not just the second one anymore now, it's the one you targeted with sneak attack and the other one. And at level 17, I think you're like 8 or 9 d6. So you're if you use the Wail of the Grave, it's half on that as well. Again, you're using like 15 d6 sort of thing. It's heaps. Been 5 over that bloke, or 4 or whatever. And the other one is at the end of a long rest, a soul trinket appears in your hand, and if you don't have any soul trinkets, as the spirits of the dead are drawn to you. So you just naturally start popping out these trinkets if you've used them all, which is great. You want to use your abilities, and this just gives you one use to get you started. But I mean,
I love this as well. This sounds like one you can really put your DM on. So you basically just continually, every time you get one, just crush it and see what voice the DM can come up with this time.
Yeah, tell me what this soul says.
Hey, what have you been up to? What have you been up to, Soul? Tell me how you passed. Tell me a story. I want to hear in great detail, DM, please.
So, Mitch, what do you like and don't like about this class?
I like the role play possibilities, like the Wails of the Lost, was it? Wails of
the
Departed, Wails of the Grave. While it is more damage, I don't see it as being like, I love being able to use it on a weak creature to hurt a bigger creature. Love that aspect. The only real issue I see is, like, for a rogue that usually comes out to kill one target, this seems like, while it can be used to target a untargetable creature sort of thing, which is pretty fantastic, it just seems as one of those things like you want the rogue to pop out and kill the big creature, not slightly damage it half as much as the little creature. But it is a nice way to thin the herd. So I don't know. There's a few things in it. So the being able to get your rolling your death saves with advantage.
And con
Thematically,
saves, yep.
I love it.
Yep.
But I could see it push it, because the way I would have played this character is I would have been going with a Reborn, which I believe already has advantage on Constitution
There are some
death saving throws. And I would have been going with a background of the Faceless, because it's got dual personalities. And I love the idea of having almost like the bad guy out of Chronicles of Riddick.
Okay.
Where you see him talking and then you see another him sort of reach out to grab the weapon a split second and then his body follows. So I love the idea of two people being in one body, sort of spirits, two spirits, one body.
Yep.
And you can actually give them both different personalities. One of them can be basically like a twin brother. So the amount of role playability in this is awesome. I don't like the whole sneak attack attacking someone else. Thematically, I get it. I just don't think mechanically it's where I want it. But it's still fantastic subclass.
I like it. I think it builds sneak attack because rogues can only take on one thing at a time. So if there's a group of them, you can't. You've got to either delay and come up with something else, whereas a lot of others can... rogues only get one attack a round. So it is really limiting, and you can only use your sneak attack once. So it is a problem there. So I like being able to hurt two creatures. Gives you a little bit more you can do. Where you do suffer is, once again, when you're only fighting one big bad, and you can't use those abilities. So potentially whenever you do get the chance to, bust them out, because you never know when the big bad is going to pop out, and it's just going to be him. So talk to your DM about... you really start to shine when he's got a few minions. And if it's not going to hurt the DM, if you can make sure not all his encounters are just single monsters. But I like it. Character concept, you started talking about one there, Mitch. Is there anything else you want to talk about a character concept there?
Yeah, I honestly I like the idea of pulling, when you take their souls, you also take a piece of their personality. If your role playing's up to the scratch, I love the idea of, when I take that guy's soul, I start acting like him a bit for a day or two.
Potentially, yeah. You've got carrying a lot of souls with you. Slivers, not complete souls.
But yeah, the essence comes out and it might affect you, make you angrier or whatnot. The one thing that I found weird about this is that you are in possession of this soul sliver.
Yep.
But it's under no obligation to be truthful.
Yeah.
But it answers as concisely as possible, eager to be free. So I see this as at least an intimidation check or some sort of
persuasion
thing that the DM would work out, because I like the idea of carrying getting one soul and talking to it all the time. Yeah,
I see but if you just I suppose once you use it, and then so it's not quite that is what it is. You're right. I played my my Reborn Phantom Rogue, and there was some skills that doubled up, but it wasn't really enough that really made me want to deter from playing that combo. So I really liked it. I played the characters if I'd already died, and I had come back. I'd been sent back from the afterlife, and it was now my job to make sure spirits moved on and didn't hang around on the material plane, and they went to the fugal plane. So that's how I played my character. And when you combine that Reborn, that Rogue, and I took the background Haunted one, that gives you, and most backgrounds will give you about 2 skills. That gave me 8 skill proficiencies, which was heaps. And that extra one floating that you can move around, 9 skill proficiencies. I was able to do a lot of things, which was really cool.
Awesome. So, as a subclass, you've played other rogues? How do you rate this against, say, Assassin or
Haven't played heaps of other rogues. I've played a few. I played them in third, and I've played them a couple in this. I liked it thematically, and I thought it really gave me something that I could build a character around. That's how I build my characters nowadays. I've got to have a concept. I don't just play a rogue. I play a concept, and I build upon it, and this one did me just right.
I thought you played it perfectly. Like the Hell Raider world environment was perfect for that sort of, stealing souls. Like half the party sort of went, what? You're like, I steal his soul. It's a simple fact. I just freehand soul.
What I do want to say though is if you're a DM and you've got one of these in your party, then you either need to have a quick printed off list, or the player needs it, and you need to just them decide their own tokens and roll on it for when the souls come out. And potentially at least they do, and probably you as well, need to make a list of exactly who they're keeping on to, because when later on in the game they say, hey, I want to speak to that boss that I'm still carrying his soul trinket around, and the DM's just like, who? I got no idea who. I can't remember. That was sessions ago, and I've forgotten. So if you do have one of these Phantom Rogues in your group, you need to make sure that you've got a trinket list, or they have a trinket list, if you don't mind them rolling or just choosing, and that you and they potentially both keep a list of exactly what trinkets they're using, and they cross them out as they burn them, and they write the new one as they get it, or just so they tell you, I'm putting this trinket aside, and I'm just going to rotate through the other trinkets, or otherwise that'll allow you as the DM to make sure you're prepped and ready when they come up with, hey, I want to talk to that trinket now.
Yeah, and my only thing is, if you're going to DM for this character, or you're going to play as this character, you need to talk to them, because there's a lot of cool interactions that you could do. I would mod the shit out of this subclass and allow certain things and not allow certain other things to make it more improv friendly, to sort of mess around with a lot of things. But hey, that's just me. But communication's key for this one, because I can see a lot of arguments happening, because this is a power gamer build. If you start using Ghost Walk the wrong way,
you start Ghost Walking through the floor, in which case the change for that would be you get kicked out of the floor and you get bumped back out. So you take the damage and bump out. That'd be the first change. It would fix that whole thing. It'd bump you out of walls and it'd bump you out of things. So unless you can get on the other side of the wall and pop back in again, in which case they're just going to move away from the wall, you're good, I think.
Yeah.
All right, Mitch. Well, thanks for chatting to us about Phantom Rogue.
Loved it. Thanks for teaching me.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to the next one. Let's see what you've got next. See ya.
Let's do it.